So let's get this straight from the jump. About a month ago, I made a pretty drastic move. I went all in on HBAR. No half steps. No testing the waters. No, maybe I'll dabble in this ecosystem and see what happens. I committed. And if you've been watching my channel, I know a lot of you probably sat there scratching your heads, asking yourself, why in the world would this guy put all his energy behind Hedera Hashgraph? Fair question. And if you've been following me long enough, you know I don't make these kinds of decisions lightly. I'm not someone who just jumps from shiny thing to shiny thing because the price chart looks hot or because the Twitter hype cycle is strong. For me, it's always about whether something feels like it actually matters. Whether it has that spark that says, hey, if we put in the effort, if we build something real here, it could make a difference not just for my bag, but for the space. Now I get it. A lot of people don't look at crypto like that. Most people just want quick flips, fast profits, a little dopamine from seeing their portfolio in the green. And I don't blame you. It's natural. But me, that's not enough. That doesn't get me out of bed in the morning. What does get me up is the thought that maybe, just maybe, by committing to a project like HBAR, I can help amplify something that actually pushes the entire industry forward. That's what this move is about. Why it's not just about the views. Here's the thing. If I wanted easy views, I know exactly how to get them. I could just pump out recycled content about some token hitting crazy price targets, $10,000 XRP, $1,000 ADA, whatever the buzzword of the day is. And guess what? Those videos would probably perform insanely well. The algorithm would love it, new audiences would find it, and I'd probably be sitting on way more clicks than I am right now. But views don't equal value. Views don't equal impact. Views don't equal trust. I've always believed that if you're going to spend your time creating content in this space, you owe it to your audience to be more than just another voice echoing hype. You owe it to them to share your thesis, your reasoning, your wins, and your losses. Because at the end of the day, if I don't bring something real to the table, what's the point? I'd just be noise. And we've already got more than enough noise in crypto. So when I chose to go all in on HBAR, it wasn't because I thought it was the easiest way to get clicks. It was because I thought it was the right way to deliver actual alpha. To show people an ecosystem that, yeah, still feels small and scrappy in some ways, but also has the DNA of something that could be huge down the line. Early stage energy. One of the things I love most about diving deep into HBAR right now is that raw, early stage energy. You can feel it. There's no massive marketing machine pushing narratives down your throat. There's no endless parade of influencers faking enthusiasm for a quick paycheck. What's happening in HBAR feels organic. It's just people, regular folks like you and me, deciding that this chain has potential and putting their money, their creativity, and their energy into building something. And that matters. Because when ecosystems grow from that kind of grassroots energy, they're sturdier. They're harder to kill. They're not just castles built on hype. They're communities built on conviction. I'll be real with you. Nobody knows exactly how this plays out. Nobody can sit here and guarantee that HBAR is going to the moon or that every project being built on it today will still be alive 3 years from now. That's not how crypto works. But what I do see is the same kind of hunger I've seen in other ecosystems before they took off. That hunger to build, to try new things, to figure out how to move the needle. And when I see that, I want to be part of it. The discipline factor. Now, let's talk about something a lot of creators don't like to touch. Discipline. Look, I'm not here to tell you to diamond hand every coin you ever buy. I'm not here to pretend that holding forever is some kind of magic formula. The truth is, the people who make it in this space are the ones who know when to take profits, when to cut losses, and when to double down. It's not about luck. It's about discipline. I've shared my wins openly. I've shared the times I took a bag from $17,000 to $24,000 in a week and then cashed out. Not because I'm trying to flex, but because I want to show people how discipline works in practice. You take the profit. You don't get greedy. You don't sit there convincing yourself it's going to 100x while ignoring all the warning signs. That's the lesson I try to hammer home with my content. It's not just about picking the right project. It's about knowing how to play the game. And in my opinion, HBAR right now is a game worth playing. But you've got to play it smart. You've got to know when to hold, when to take profit, and when to redeploy. That's how you survive in crypto. That's how you build wealth that lasts. Trust and responsibility. There's one more piece to this that I think is important to call out. Trust. The only reason I have any kind of platform at all is because people like you choose to watch my content. And I don't take that lightly. I don't take it for granted. Because the truth is, a single video can be the difference between millions of dollars flowing into a project and millions of dollars not showing up. That's not because of me personally. It's because of the collective choices you make as a community. But knowing that comes with responsibility. If I use this platform just to chase clicks or farm views, I'm wasting that trust. I'm cashing it in for nothing. And I can't do that. I won't do that. So when I say I'm going all in on HBAR, part of it is because I genuinely believe this ecosystem deserves attention. And part of it is because I believe I can make a difference here. By amplifying projects, by connecting people, by sharing what I see, and by being transparent about my journey. If you watch my videos, I want you to know that I'm not here to just farm you for clicks. I'm here because I actually care about where this industry is going. Why HBAR? So why HBAR? Why not stick with something safer, something with more hype, something guaranteed to get views? Because hype fades, algorithms change, trends die. But ecosystems that are actually building real technology, they endure. And when I look at HBAR, I see an ecosystem that's still early, still underappreciated, still ignored by the mainstream in a lot of ways, but one that has the ingredients to be a serious player. The tech is strong. The community is scrappy. The builders are motivated. And the potential upside is massive. That's the kind of place I want to plant my flag. So that's the heart of it. That's why I made the decision to pivot hard and go all in on HBAR. Not because it's easy. Not because it guarantees views. But because it feels like the right move for me, for my content, and for the community I'm building with all of you. If you're here watching and listening, it means you care too. And that's what makes this journey worth it. Alright, let's get into the real meat of this. The early growth of HBAR and how discipline plays into making the most of it. Because let me tell you something. HBAR right now feels like standing on the edge of a city that hasn't even been built yet. The blueprints are there, the land is cleared, a few buildings are popping up, but most people don't even realize how big this thing could get once it really kicks off. And that's exactly why it's so exciting, but also why you need to move smart. Feeling the early vibes. When you dive into HBAR today, you can feel that energy. It's not polished. It's not too late. It's that messy, chaotic, early-stage energy where projects are figuring themselves out, communities are still forming, and opportunities are everywhere for the people willing to do the homework. Some people hate that stage. They want certainty. They want guarantees. They want polished apps with billions already locked in. But if you've been in crypto long enough, you know the biggest wins come from spotting ecosystems in this exact phase. The phase where nobody outside the core community really gets it yet. Think about it. If you were early in Solana before NFTs took off, or early in Polygon before gaming blew up, or early in Avalanche before DeFi summer, that's where fortunes are made. And HBAR feels like it's in that pocket right now. Liquidity, volume, and the market reality. Now let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention. Liquidity. HBAR is still growing, and that means liquidity isn't as deep as some of the bigger chains. You can't just plow millions into it and expect no slippage. That's both a challenge and an opportunity. Because when new liquidity does come in, especially institutional liquidity, the impact is amplified. I've been watching the charts, and when volume ticks up, it's obvious. HBAR doesn't move like a megacap token that needs billions to shift. It reacts fast, and when the volume is real, not just retail chasing pumps but actual deep pockets moving in, the price action shows it. That's why you hear me talk about levels like 28 cents or 30 cents. Those aren't just arbitrary lines. They're psychological barriers and liquidity points. Clearing them isn't just about a green candle. It's about sending a signal to the market that HBAR is ready for the next stage. The discipline of profit-taking. Now, let's be brutally honest. Most people in crypto don't know how to take profits. They just don't. Here's what happens. You buy a bag at 5 cents, it runs to 15 cents, and you're up 3x. You feel great, but instead of taking some chips off the table, you start convincing yourself it's going to $10. Next thing you know, it retraces, you're back at 7 cents, and suddenly you're barely in profit or even underwater. I've seen it. I've lived it. And that's why I keep saying, discipline matters more than hype. For me, the playbook is simple. You take profits on the way up. You secure your wins so that no matter what happens next, you're playing with house money. That way, when the inevitable pullbacks come, you're not panicking. You're not emotional. You've already locked in gains, and you can decide whether you want to redeploy or just let the rest ride. HBAR right now is a prime example of where this discipline comes into play. Because while the upside looks great, and I genuinely believe in the long term, you can't just ignore the downside. You've got to respect it. Early plays and smart rotations. Let me give you a concrete example. Back in the early weeks of really diving into HBAR, I caught a move where my bag went from $17,000 to $24,000 in a week. That's solid. Now, a lot of people would have sat there saying, nah, hold on, this is going to $50,000 in no time. But I didn't do that. I took the profit. I cashed out. And guess what? That decision gave me breathing room. It meant that even if HBAR had retraced, I wouldn't be sitting there red-faced and stressed. Instead, I was already ahead, with dry powder to redeploy when the setup looked right again. That's the difference between gamblers and traders. Gamblers sit there praying the pump continues. Traders take the win, secure the bag, and get ready for the next opportunity. And let me be crystal clear, HBAR right now is presenting opportunities. The ecosystem is still early, which means projects are undervalued, narratives aren't fully priced in, and rotations can be insanely rewarding if you're disciplined enough to catch them. Conviction without blindness. Now, don't get me wrong. Having conviction matters. If you don't believe in the long-term potential of the ecosystem you're in, you're going to get shaken out the first time things dip. And HBAR is no exception. If you're in this ecosystem, you've got to believe in where it's going, enterprise adoption, institutional interest, AI integrations, all that. But conviction doesn't mean blindness. Conviction doesn't mean you just close your eyes and hold no matter what. Conviction means you have a thesis, you know why you're here, and you play the short-term moves in a way that keeps you in the game for the long term. That's how I approach HBAR. I'm bullish. I believe in it. But I'm also not stupid. If 21 cents fails to hold, I know what that means. It means we could see 19 cents or even 16 cents. And if that happens, I'm not going to sit there crying. I'll have already taken profits on the way up, and I'll be ready to buy back in when the setup looks sweet again. That's the mindset you need. Conviction plus discipline. That's the winning combo. Why discipline resonates here. One of the reasons I think my HBAR content resonates is because people are tired of being lied to. They're tired of hearing influencers scream, never sell, while secretly dumping their bags on them. They're tired of charts with insane moon math that never actually plays out. What they want is honesty. They want someone to say, yes, this looks bullish, but here are the levels we need to respect. Yes, there's potential here, but don't get greedy. Yes, I'm in, but I'm taking profits when it makes sense. That's not sexy. That doesn't always get the same clicks as $100 HBAR thumbnails. But it's real. And in the long run, that honesty builds more trust and more impact than hype ever could. So here's the takeaway from this section. HBAR is early. It's messy. It's volatile. And that's exactly why it's exciting. But if you're going to play in this sandbox, you need to bring discipline with you. Take profits. Respect the downside. Don't let conviction turn into blindness. Because at the end of the day, the people who win in crypto aren't the ones who believe the hardest. They're the ones who believe smartly with conviction but also with discipline. And that's how I see HBAR right now. A high upside, early stage ecosystem that rewards the people willing to get in early, stay focused, and play the game with their heads, not just their hearts. So here we are. After everything I've laid out, the early growth energy, the profit discipline, the conviction without blindness, and the potential for real impact, let's zoom out and make it simple. Why HBAR and why now? The answer is this: timing. Crypto runs in cycles and ecosystems run in phases. Right now, HBAR is sitting at that sweet spot, the stage where it's early enough to capture insane upside, but developed enough to prove it's not just another empty promise. That window doesn't stay open forever. Once mainstream attention floods in, once institutions fully commit, once everyone and their cousin starts talking about Hedera, the opportunity profile changes. The risks go down, but so do the rewards. This is the moment where the conviction-driven players separate themselves from the crowd. The ones who can see the writing on the wall before the headlines, who understand what it means to position themselves before the rush. That's not hype. That's not moon math. That's just being early and being smart about it. But being early comes with responsibility. It means playing the game differently. It means respecting the volatility, taking profits when the market gives them to you, and not getting lost in fantasy numbers. Because the truth is, 100x doesn't happen overnight. It happens step by step, rotation by rotation, level by level. And that's where discipline kicks in. Because without discipline, early positioning doesn't matter. You'll just end up round-tripping your gains and wondering why you're stuck. But with discipline, with conviction plus smart strategy, that's when being early transforms into being successful. And that's exactly why I'm here, all in on HBAR. Because I see an ecosystem at the edge of breakout. I see fundamentals lining up with narrative. I see the volume shifts, the partnerships, the community energy. And I know what happens when all those things collide. Here's the bottom line: you've got a choice to make. You can sit on the sidelines, scrolling past HBR thinking, maybe one day I'll get in. You can wait until the headlines are screaming about new all-time highs, until everyone on YouTube is suddenly acting like they've been talking about Hedera for years. You can wait until the price is no longer in accumulation zones but already in discovery mode. Or you can step in now. You can be early. You can position yourself while most people are still ignoring it. But let me be clear. This isn't financial advice. This is perspective. This is about recognizing where we are in the cycle and deciding whether you want to play the game or just watch it happen. If you believe in enterprise adoption, if you believe in institutional-grade infrastructure, if you believe in ecosystems that actually deliver utility instead of memes, then HBAR is the play you should be paying attention to. And if you're already here, then double down on doing it the smart way. Accumulate with strategy. Take profits when the market gives them to you. Stay disciplined, stay focused, and don't let noise shake you out. Because the ones who stick around, who keep their heads when others are losing theirs, those are the ones who end up with life-changing wins. So here's my call to you. Don't just watch. Don't just scroll past. Don't wait for permission from the mainstream. Be part of it now. Be part of the builders, the early adopters, the disciplined players who see where this is going before it's obvious. Because HBAR isn't just another altcoin to speculate on. It's an ecosystem, a movement, a platform that's only just starting to show its potential. And the people who understand that now, before the noise, before the rush, before the FOMO, those are the ones who will look back in a few years and say, that's when everything changed for me. So don't let this moment pass you by. Lean in, accumulate smart, stay disciplined, and let's ride this wave together. Because the future isn't going to wait, and HBAR is already moving.